Welcome back to another episode of Chicago Brewed Sports. We are joined by Brandon Nordley to my left, and to my right is Joe Klett. As for myself, my name is Andrew Nordley. We are a podcast
for the fans, by the fans!
So guys, tell me about your week. How are we feeling about the podcast tonight?
You go, Brandon.
I've had a great week, as per usual. I've been working out, a lot of work, and then always preparing for the podcast. Always a lot to talk about. The Bears never
work all day.
Yeah,
True.
looking forward to it.
Yep, very good. Joe?
What about you, Joe?
So right now, I'm actually in school for firefighting for rope operations. So Monday through Friday, kind of like a 9-to-5 job. Firefighters really aren't used to that.
Yeah.
Our traditional hours are you work 24 hours and you're off 48. So right now, I'm kind of getting adjusted back to that 9-to-5 life, which is if you're you love the 24 on, 48 off if you're a firefighter. Like, you're so adjusted to it, you get so used to having 2 days off. It's nice. And now
That does sound nice.
Yeah, so now it's just, my 9-to-5 for, I have to finish the week. Last day is Friday for class, and then I'll be certified in rope operations. So, which is like, you could rappel from buildings, you could do rescues.
Basically, this guy is Superman right here.
Yeah, basically, definitely not. But, so my work week has been pretty hectic, crazy. I haven't really had a lot of time to do a lot of things.
Yep.
So just to let you know out there that this podcast is probably going to be one of the shorter ones, just because, hey, like we said, we're just fans that are for the fans. Like,
we got a bone to pick with the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a lot to talk about, but
Yeah.
I feel as if like every week it's kind of getting a little repetitive with the whole Bears sucking and stuff like that. So we'll try and keep the information flowing best as we could.
Absolutely.
But before we jump into things tonight, someone new lost the previous week. It's no longer Brandon. Brandon doesn't have to take the shot anymore. It's Joe. So
Yeah, no, that's me.
I say we just get the fucking shot over with. Excuse me, I can't talk at the moment.
Pour it up, bartender.
Yeah. So we're just gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. So in recap, we didn't do
To
it
the brim, baby.
So recap, we didn't do it the first week, but every week since the first week, besides this week, Brandon's done it, and now Joe's first time. Actually, second time. He lost the side bet. So
This makes me so happy.
So 4-2
Finally.
and 0. 4-2 and 0. I'm still winning. And guns up. And Bullet Club gold, baby.
All right, here we go. Shot of Malort. I don't know if I don't think. Have you ever talked about Jeffson's Malort ever?
They actually have a new flavor.
Yeah, the pumpkin.
The pumpkin.
Yeah.
But it's only limited time for obviously reasons, for the month.
Yeah.
But Jeffson's Malort is a Chicago liqueur made here. A lot of people literally if you're from out of town, like a cousin, family member, a friend, whatever, and you know about Malort. You live in Chicago. A lot of the times it's kind of a joke, like, oh yeah, we'll talk it up and say you got to try this shot of Malort, and they take a shot and it's like, what is that crap?
And then it drops you to your knees.
But hey, let me tell you, natural Chicagoans kind of like it. At least me, not these two, but I kind of like it. I'll take a shot of Malort all day.
Absolutely.
So hey, cheers to Chicago. Cheers to the Bears sucking and the whole Chicago sports organization.
Well said, Joe. Cheers.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
That's a face of someone who did not enjoy that.
No, but Joe.
No, that's a face of someone who did not enjoy that and tried their hardest to not look like a pussy on the mic.
Joe, I wanna correct you.
Or
I don't
in the video.
I don't hate Malort like that. I have a little bit of pride in drinking Malort since it's from Chicago. Every time I drink it,
Hell yeah,
I feel like I'm hanging out at the Bean or something.
It's like
but-
eating a Gina Juice hot dog.
Exactly. Sometimes you just gotta enjoy a shot of Malort, but not the best.
I don't think that's the case. I would rather drink any. Well,
I'm
not a big fan of hard liquor, honestly. I really don't enjoy any hard liquor, but I would probably take anything over Jeff's.
We had this discussion off the podcast. I would rather have a shot of Malort over a shot of Svedka any day of the week.
Like just straight up
Straight
up
vodka.
vodka.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
I mean,
man.
that shit's bad too.
Even
I
like
don't
a
know.
shot of Grey Goose, like you.
Dude, I
No. Grey Goose is different. If you chill the Grey Goose and you do it correctly, it's actually good.
Dude, I don't honestly know how people do shots of vodka. I think it's kind of gross.
I agree.
To be honest.
I like tequila though.
Well,
I'm a big tequila guy.
Dude, I like tequila too, but it gives me migraines, so that's shitty. It does, man. It sucks.
Yes.
I don't drink tequila. Yeah, I just try and stick with beer for the most part. But I think we should jump in to the Chicago Bears, starting with Joe.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to start off with Justin Fields getting hurt. So right now the report is that he dislocated his right thumb, which is his throwing hand.
Yeah.
At first they were unsure if it was a fracture during the game, but it turned out it was a dislocation. They snapped it back into place. Justin Fields, I don't think the guy is what's a good word, like not a coward, but like he's not like a wussy. He's a tough dude. I have to watch what I said. I couldn't say the P word.
Andrew already said it. So.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, we're free.
Anyways,
you can't say
yeah,
it?
I don't know. I think you can.
Okay.
You probably can. I don't know. But anyways,
Yeah. Well,
he's a tough dude.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. He's a tough
I was
dude.
joking.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is a tough son of a gun, man. He wanted to go back out and play. He just couldn't grip the football. So they're like, hey, we're putting in my man, Tyson Bagent. So
Hey, this guy went out on a limb and changed his Facebook profile picture and his cover photo to Bagent. I mean, Joe.
no,
And tell me about how you're feeling about Bagent finally getting the start.
I mean, he's been saying since day one.
He's
all the
been
time.
saying since preseason that
So-
he cannot wait for Bagent to get
I'm
his
not
opportunity.
surprised with with how confident you are
Yeah.
in Agent and
So-
how excited you are.
So, hey, like, I never wished for Justin Fields to get hurt. That's the last
Yeah.
thing I would ever want. I mean, I would never want it.
And it could
so.
be very bad for Justin Fields because he
Yeah.
may have some
I honestly,
torn ligaments in his thumb.
I honestly really hope that he has a speedy recovery, healthy recovery,
Yep.
and he gets back to the playing field as soon as possible.
Of course.
But in all reality, and this has been said on ESPN 1000, this has been said on 670 The Score, the professional sports analysts have said that this is probably the end of Justin Fields' career in Chicago.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
You really think so?
Yeah, I think so.
So wait. I'm sorry, Brandon. Do you think he is done in Chicago because the torn thumb, or possibly the dislocated thumb, or because Bagent came in and he kind of did well? He went 10 for 14.
No, it's really none of those. I mean, it's because of his dislocation of his thumb. He's probably going to miss, they're saying 4 to 6 weeks. He's probably most likely going to have surgery if he wants it to heal correctly. I mean, he can go the rehab route and hope that it heals on its own. But like he said, there is probably a torn ligament. So the proper way of doing it is getting surgery. I mean, look how fast you recovered from your torn ACL.
And
So,
the problem is with Justin Fields too is that he already plays at a suboptimal level as
Yeah.
it is when healthy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if
he
he
does.
were to try to play through the injury or just wrap the thumb
he's a
and try
tough
to play
dude,
through
so
it,
he probably
he's
will.
a tough guy, and I'm not denying
Probably.
that.
People respect
Yeah.
when you play through injuries. Other players do.
But Justin Fields already can't throw the ball.
Yeah.
Now he's got, something.
Yeah, well,
stopping
Daniel
him.
Jones said
That's
that
what worries me.
Daniel Jones said, I believe this was on 670 The Score. Daniel Jones said that, like, what he would do is you have to worry about your future, your career, get surgery, make sure you're 100% before you go back out there. But then there's other, it just depends on the player too. There's other players like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady that play through injuries, and they say that you have to earn that level of respect to go out there, play, and wear that badge, that captain patch, and all that stuff. Like, you have to earn that, and that's by playing through injuries. But then there's, that's another thing. Daniel Jones is a second-string backup his whole entire life. So, I mean, who are you going to listen to? Tom Brady and, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers played the whole year last year with a broken thumb. And Patrick Mahomes, look how many injuries that guy plays through. I mean, that's like you wear that captain badge, you wear that badge of honor, you go out there and you play through injuries. That's like what true diehard players do.
And that's why we had that conversation about Deshaun Watson.
And I think
Justin
Justin, and I think,
played.
well, yeah, Deshaun Watson's another story, and I think Fields is like his mentality is way above Deshaun Watson's. I think Fields does have his head on his shoulders, right? I just think he has a hard time reading defenses. He misses open players. He wants to run the ball too much. He misses. He's not as accurate, I think, as we thought he was, and he takes unnecessary hits. Like the hit that he took when he got hit with the holding onto the ball. I believe it was for like 6 seconds, 6-something seconds. He was holding the ball on. When he tried to run out of the pocket, then he got hit, landed on his thumb awkwardly, and obviously it got dislocated. The rest is history.
You know, it's definitely a shame that Justin Fields' tenure may come to an end in Chicago. Obviously, we all wanted to see him pan out. There's a lot of hype behind him. But if this is the end for Justin Fields in Chicago, obviously we'll wish him all the best.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in reality, for his personal career, this could be a good thing. Because what if, let's say, like a pretty decent team picks up Justin Fields to be their backup?
Well, they're talking about
the
Falcons right now.
Well, yeah, like you know, if Justin Fields ends up being with a good team, let's say, you know, that could very well benefit him because everyone knows the Bears are a dumpster fire at the moment. So,
but to answer your question, Andrew, the reason why that this is the end for Fields, I kind of answered it, but the real reason is because now we don't have a full year of properly evaluating him. I mean, he had 2 really good games out of the 6 games they played so far, and there's just not enough to evaluate him based on. And I think that he's gotten injured before. He had a broken rib before, and he was out for I think he was out for like a half a season from that his starting year. That's another reason he takes unnecessary hits. But I think he would fit into the Falcons' offensive scheme better. I mean, they like to run the quarterback more. And dude, as soon as Tyson Bagent came out there, you guys even saw it, man. Like I think Tyson Bagent is more like a system quarterback. And he fits into Luke Getsy's system more, like that pocket passing. That's
a good way to put it.
And he's also playing with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So he's going to be trying hard as it is, but he's going to be trying extra hard to make a good impression to begin.
He said he has nothing to lose.
Exactly.
He said that he shouldn't even be in the NFL. Like he said that what he was going to do if he wasn't in the NFL, he was going to go do CrossFit and just get big and then go coach high school football. That's what Tyson Bagent said.
Yeah, but do people who do CrossFit get big?
Well, I don't know.
Right?
He just
I don't know.
made that.
They're more like an athletic build.
Right. Well, whatever he meant by it, but
that's what you want in a quarterback, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
so I
not
think
everyone has to be Cam Newton.
I think Tyson Bagent is going to light the NFL on fire, man. I really do. Dude, look how good he did, and he wasn't getting any of the reps with the players. Justin Fields has now had 3 years with, not DJ Moore, but with Darnell Mooney. He's had 3 years with him, getting all the reps, trying to learn under Luke Getsy's system for 2 years. Tyson Bagent said he's playing with the training squad, practicing with the training squad.
I have a question for Brandon. How do you think? So Joe just said that he thinks Bagent is going to light the world on fire. What is your take on that? Do you agree? Do you disagree, or what?
This is fun, and I'm looking forward week after week to kind of analyze this. But I think that I have not seen enough from Tyson Bagent. The fact is, we've seen a little bit of Bagent in preseason, but that's not enough for me. As far as the NFL goes, we've seen a quarter of Bagent. I think Bagent played well, but I also feel like all of everything that he did well on Sunday still came up short with that interception. And the fact is that it's just not enough time to evaluate someone. Even if Tyson Bagent came in and won us that game, I'm not going to sit here and say he's the Don. I think we need to take it week by week and really see how he progresses and how he has his shot.
So, very good take. Thank you. Yes, I do agree with you. I lean more towards your side. I think Bears fans get caught up on being excited for a new quarterback. Could this be the quarterback that reaches 4,000 yards in the season? Since we've never had a real franchise quarterback, it's easy to be excited over a new face.
Andrew,
I think.
Just real quick, going back to what you were talking about earlier too, I wanted to circle back. You talked about how you would be upset if Justin Fields left the Bears and he were to pop off for a different team.
I wouldn't.
But all I was going to say
he'd
was
probably be good with another team.
You would think, right? But we all thought the same thing about Mitch Trubisky, number 2 overall pick in the draft, right? I believe 2018 or 2017. But
And I think Trubisky is kind of similar to Fields. Like the way they
exactly,
play.
and I think that we've seen it already, where
Yeah.
where Trubisky left Chicago. He doesn't have a starting position. He doesn't have a starting job in this league.
He's a backup.
He's very mid. He's a backup, and
The
I think
Steelers.
I've seen enough of Fields. I think, and I mentioned this during the week. When it comes to Justin Fields, like I think I've had enough. I think I've seen enough. Throughout the first, this is our 6th episode now. Throughout the last 6 weeks or so, beginning of the season, I've been the biggest, Justin Fields supporter out of the 3 of us. Let's be honest. I've also, I've really pinned it on the bad team, as opposed to just pinning it on Justin Fields. But I think I've gotten to my point where I don't trust him anymore. I think he's not a pocket passer, which is what you want to see. It's okay to have a rushing quarterback, but they have to be able to stay in the pocket and rush the ball too.
I agree.
Or throw the ball too. And I've seen way too many times where we have open receivers that he's just not getting the ball to. I saw multiple examples of that on Sunday against the Vikings. I've just seen so many examples of him scrambling out, just prematurely and not throwing the ball. Even, he doesn't trust himself throwing the ball in tight coverage. I don't know. I hope that Tyson Bagent really pans out.
That'd be quite
because
a story.
I do agree with you. I don't necessarily think this is the last game we're ever going to see of Fields. But on a personal level, I think I'm done. I think I'm done supporting. I'll support him as a Bears quarterback, but in terms of like wishing that he's successful, I just don't think it's going to happen anymore.
So, are we drafting a quarterback in next year's draft?
It depends on what Bagent does.
Yeah.
I think at this
So,
point.
okay, what if Bayesian has a semi-mid, season for
Maybe
us?
draft a quarterback then. I'm sure that's
Even
what
if
they-
it's a mid-season.
Yeah, that's what they'll do.
It's just like an average
I
season
agree.
for a quarterback. He doesn't do good, he doesn't do bad. Do you still draft a quarterback?
I think Ryan Poles would still draft a quarterback. I think that Luke Gutsy and Matt Eberflus would probably be fired. And I think that now that he hires a new
it would be quite the
coach.
story.
I think
He's on
this is what it's going to boil down to. It's simply going to boil down to: are the Bears going to be in a position where they can draft whoever they want? Right? If assuming that the
Looking at
Bears
the
do
Panthers.
secure, let's say, the number 1 pick or what have you, I think they do 100%. But we got to get there first.
Right now-
if the Bears end with the 4th overall pick, we're gonna have to figure something out.
Brandon, right now we're on track to get the number 1
Yeah.
and 2.
Yeah.
Number
Which-
1 and 2.
Yeah.
We got the Panthers pick.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you don't want to see your team do bad, but it is very exciting to have the number 1 and 2 pick. Of the
Dude,
draft.
I think it's very exciting
yeah,
to be
yeah.
a Bears fan right now, everyone. Not that we're losing, but that we're going to witness our franchise quarterback play on Sunday against the Raiders. We are going to witness the next generational talent in a quarterback. I'm telling you, man, this guy's story is written in history to be that guy.
You're talking about Williams, right? You're talking about Bagent? Oh,
Yes, I'm
okay.
talking about Tyson Bagent. That's what I'm saying. It's exciting times to be a Bears fan. I know everyone's thinking that's crazy, and I might be going out on a limb here, but I'm telling you right now, man, this guy can play freaking football.
I was at the last game of the season last year at Soldier Field, obviously, and it was really funny because everyone at the game was huddled around the TVs watching the Texans and Colts game. It's just very funny. That was my whole point. Even though the Bears are bad, it's still a very exciting time.
Well,
because of our draft position.
What worries me a little bit too is that we're fighting at this point, right? Like with Fields going down and just. We'll talk about our running back situation. Like we are destined to lose the next couple of weeks without Fields.
Yep.
Hopefully, I think Rashawn Johnson might be coming back soon. We all know
Yeah, he'll be back.
Khalil Mack's not feeling that great, but or Herbert, excuse me.
I was gonna say
I know I always do that. But what worries me is that if we are banking on getting these high draft picks, I can't speak on it too much, but I know Caleb Williams hasn't been playing the greatest ball right now. Have you guys heard that too?
Yeah, no,
Well,
I
not
don't
only
think we
has
should
he
draft
been,
him.
he hasn't been playing good ball, but he also went on record and said he can make more money staying in college, and he'd only accept a deal with a very few teams. Which I think
The Vikings were
that kind of sends a bad message,
Yeah. He also, I
Like,
heard that he
come on,
wants
man.
part ownership in whatever team hires him.
Yeah, why don't you just stay in college, buddy?
I don't know, that's crazy.
That's my opinion.
And then someone made the comment, oh, like how Notre Dame owned you.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah,
game.
I mean, I truly hope the Bears do not draft Caleb
And
Williams.
let last year's
I heard
draft
that-
class
Yeah,
be a
I
lesson
hope-
to everybody.
I hope they don't.
I heard that Ryan Poles, like, he's not, like, Caleb Williams is not even on his radar. I heard he has another
he
quarterback.
shouldn't be.
And
But-
In no way, shape, or form.
That's what I'm
should the
saying,
Bears
Joe. That's a
draft
good
Caleb
point, and
Williams.
I think we should normalize what Joe just said. I think
Yeah.
just because this guy is overwhelmingly like projected as number one, coming from a team like Bama, Michigan, whatever, it's not always going to end up that way. I mean, let's look at what C.J. Stroud is doing
Yep.
compared to Bryce Young. They have they have a different build, they have different skill sets, and for some reason, everyone wanted to say Bryce Young was going to be the guy.
Because he's from Alabama. for
And
sure,
and,
yeah.
and, it, and it sucks because as a GM, right? Let's just imagine everybody's saying Bryce Young is the man. Let's say you go out on a limb and draft C.J. Stroud, and he becomes a bust, and Young becomes the man. That's unforgivable. So it really does put these scouting teams in a pickle.
So,
They went
so
up-
you are kind of stuck.
You are
drafting
kind
the
of
top
fucking
dog.
stuck, but
Yeah.
that's not good.
But
It's got to be. There's got to be a better way to evaluate these players.
But I think this year the number one team who gets the team who gets the number one pick has kind of a pass on what you just said because of the comments that Caleb Williams said. So I think that it would be kind of understandable if the Bears go a different route other than Caleb
It's an
Williams.
attitude problem.
For sure. But most years, no. I mean, you're right, 100%. And question for both of you, you guys can answer however you want. What is your predictions on Bagent's next game, stats-wise?
I think he's going to throw for over 200 yards.
200 yards?
Yeah. I think that he's going to throw for 250 plus yards. I really do, man. Like I said, like, this is not like a quarterback that's been in the NFL, that's a veteran, that's just known as a backup, that bounces around teams, like a Fitz Magic, that's played for every NFL team. This is a dude that's a rookie that played in a Division II college. So yeah, it's not flashy. And I think some politics were involved why he didn't get drafted in a later round. And I just really think that politics held this guy back. But he's a rookie QB. He's 23 years old, Tyson Bagent, and no one really knows a lot about this guy. Like he won a bunch of. He has the most touchdowns in the NCAA. He holds the record for the most touchdowns right now. I mean, that's something to say, right?
Yeah.
We talked about his stats a little bit in the last podcast, but I think he throws for over 250 yards, and I think he throws for 4 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns maybe.
That is a monster game.
I mean, the Bears are at home
That's
against
a
the
monster
Raiders.
game.
The Raiders aren't a team to write home about. They're very mid.
Yeah.
Joe, I agree with you. I think
Yeah.
I agree with you partially. I think that what's going to happen is because of our run game being decimated, I honestly believe that they're going to, and the Bears have nothing to lose, right? We already have a shitty record. Even if we lose, that's just adding to our draft capital later on. I think the Bears are going to let Tyson Bagent just kind of fling the ball. I think here's where I disagree with you, Joe. I think Tyson Bagent has a lot of yards thrown, but what I believe is that I think he will have some turnovers. I do.
There's always a chance.
I think there's with anybody, there's gonna be growing pains, man. Like I don't care who you are, you see some guys join the league and like the league on fire, but I think there's gonna be some growing pains. I think we'll see it. I think because the Raiders are like suboptimal team, I think we have a chance. You never know, but I half agree with you, Joe.
And that one throw that he had, that everyone keeps talking about, that he has no arm strength. He half-armed throw that. I mean, he took the blame, which is, I respect that. I mean, unlike Matt Eberflus that, can't, he worms his way out of every lie that he tells the media, or he just tells a lie to the media all the time. But if you watch that throw, the last throw, the interception, throwing it to DJ Moore, he gave DJ Moore, a lot of chances. I don't know why Justin Fields doesn't, but he threw it to DJ Moore. He even said one of the best wide receivers in football. He's like, I'm going to give him a chance. It's a huge play. His first down, whatever. I'm going to throw it downfield. and he had a defender right in his face, grabbing his chest like this when he threw that ball. And it wasn't like he didn't draw it back all the way and throw it all. So we really don't know how good his arm strength is. And everyone's like, oh, he can't deep throw it. It's like, no, man. He was hit when he threw that ball. And you could even watch the defender had an arm on his chest, and he didn't throw it all the way because he's right in his face. So he like half threw it. So I mean, we really don't know how strong his arm is. I think it was a lot stronger.
I don't think it was the smartest decision by
No,
Bagent
it wasn't.
either.
He even said he was
because the Bears had a couple minutes. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the Bears
yeah.
had a couple minutes left. They were getting close to the 2-minute warning. If not, maybe they were just past it. But
He's trying to be a hero, a hero throw.
He was, but I think if he had a little bit more experience and intelligence for the game, not a knock on him, but I think if you're going to throw the ball deep, make sure there's some separation, right?
Yeah.
It's like in a situation like that,
Or it's
play some small ball, right? Dinks and dunks, try to get some first downs. Mix it up, and I just think that was just a bad play.
DJ Moore didn't really fight the other guy either, which I didn't like. I mean, he could have went up there and broke it up or got offensive, whatever, a penalty on offense. He could have went up and did that, and I thought DJ Moore really didn't go up and help him at all with that. I think that Bagent thought that that's what was going to happen. He was going to go up and knock the ball down or something, and obviously that didn't happen. But
So you guys could chime in, and you guys could tell me if I'm wrong or whatnot, but the cat is out of the bag, right? The Bears are not a good football team. The Bears aren't going anywhere this year, nor are they going anywhere next year. So as Bagent is our new starting quarterback, let's just say it hasn't been confirmed, but let's just say he is, right? Should the Bears focus primarily on Bagent being the quarterback and slinging the ball to see what kind of tools he has as a quarterback? I think the Bears, instead of going for the win on these games anymore, because I think everyone would just rather have them tank. Obviously, they're not going to admit that, but why not just send Bagent out there and just let him fling the ball? Is that a stupid idea?
Well, he kind of said that's what he was going to do. He
Oh,
says he
okay.
has nothing to lose.
Okay, well, yeah.
Well, he didn't say that exactly.
Well,
but
yeah,
he said
it's
he
just-
has nothing to lose, meaning he doesn't care, I think he does care about what happens to him. I think he wants to play in the NFL and succeed in the NFL. But, if he doesn't make it, he says, he didn't even expect to be there. Like I said, he was saying he was going to go coach high school football. I think he said, basically when he was saying it, he said he's going to, basically it sounded like sling it down the field.
Yeah, and I agree. Let's see what Bagent is made of. I would love to see Bagent go out there, and obviously you can't just throw the ball every freaking play because the defense is going to pick up on that. But I do want to see Bagent go out and make some deep passes.
Dude, you saw how fast he was at getting rid of it.
Yeah.
The ball.
So
way faster
we'll
than
see.
Fields.
We'll see how he does, but I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just want to see Bagent play his own game.
But did you notice, guys, as soon as Bagent came in, that fumble that people are saying, he needed to protect the football, he did pull the football to his chest when he got hit. That was just such. Larry Borum, our left tackle, tripped over his feet, and the guy got right behind Bagent. It was 2 seconds, and he was tackled because of Larry Borum tripping over his feet.
Yeah.
Anyways, but dude, did you guys notice it feels like they adjusted the plays towards Bagent. It was a whole new play calling game when he went out there. It was faster. They started moving the ball down the field by not only running but throwing too. I mean, and it doesn't seem like that with Fields. It seems like they had different plays for Fields, and Bagent came in, and then all of a sudden they've readjusted
because they
which
knew
makes
Justin
sense.
Fields' capabilities.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
Because they knew Justin Fields' capabilities.
And I heard they
had
cut
to
the
run
field in
certain
half
plays.
for
Exactly.
Fields. It's usually cut a half in the field in half for rookies or people that have a hard time reading defenses.
Yeah.
And it looked like Bagent had the whole field open, man. And he was slinging it. And yeah, it sucked that fumble happened. I mean, and then the interception. But dude, if it wasn't for that, man, did he look good. So
that's what I was saying. Whatever it is at this point, they just gotta be chill. They gotta let whatever Bagent wants to do, whatever he's comfortable with, they got to give him those looks.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I think with all the reps.
Don't expect this kid who's going into his first start, his first time starting a football game in the NFL. Don't expect him to do things that he's not comfortable doing. You know, give him the chance to make plays and give him the chance to fail. Who cares, right? If we're gonna let this kid grow a little bit, give this kid a chance to fail and overcome it. And last week was the best example of that. His first play in the NFL, literally, like in that game, was what Joe just alluded to, that fumble, and he responded really well to that, right? I think, you know, whatever he's comfortable doing, let him do it, and we'll see what happens.
No, and for sure, ask any successful person how important it is to fail in life. It just makes you better. It helps you grow as a person, and that's for every aspect. Not
We're giving Justin Fields 3 years to prove himself.
Yeah.
We can't expect Bagent to prove anything to us in 3-4 games. You know what I mean?
Of course. Of course you can. That's why, just Bagent, go out there,
Yep.
throw the damn ball, dude. Let's see what the hell you're made of.
It doesn't.
I want to see the arm strength. I want to see the accuracy. I want to see everything you got.
Yeah, I
He's
totally
going to
agree.
be tested without a running game right
well,
now.
we'll know more.
And that's okay. That's okay. The Bears are not expected to win. So, like I said, there's. I don't think there should be any pressure on Bagent other than him trying to play a good game.
By him saying that, he has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any pressure.
And like I said earlier, the cat is out of the bag. Like the Bears are not a good team. So even the players, the coaches, management, the owner, everyone knows the Bears are not good. They're not going to win. So just go out there and play your game.
Yeah.
And don't worry about the freaking win. Throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Everyone would love you.
You know what? Some of the funniest memes I'm seeing, they're like, yeah, Justin Fields is like, it's like having a Ferrari with no engine in it.
Useless.
Yeah,
useless.
Like it looks beautiful, like all the features, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Wow, that's funny.
That's true.
That's funny.
Or one guy said no insurance, and you get the basic maintenance always done on it, but nothing else. Anyways, so something that concerned me. This was brought up.
And what concerned you, Joe?
So this was brought up on Bear Now by Chicago, or why can I not think? Bears Now by Chat Sports. Jesus.
Bears Now Chat Sports. Right.
So
noted.
Harrison Graham always he hates Matt Eberflus. I feel like, which I'm not a fan of him either.
Shout out to Graham.
Harrison Graham
Cracker.
I get a lot of information from him and Faz, obviously.
Very good football mind, Bears fan.
Yeah.
Very good.
Anyways, so do you guys have a problem with Matt Eberflus going and lying all the time to the media when they ask him questions about, hey, what's going on with Fields' injury? Oh, the MRI results haven't gotten back. We haven't gotten them back yet. It's been a day, and they already took the MRI. It doesn't take a day to get MRI results back. It's ridiculous. Then they asked him, why did you, as soon as Bagent went in, why did you take Cody Whitehair out and put in Lucas Patrick? Cody, did you guys see how
it was
high
terrible?
the snaps?
It was terrible.
Yeah,
every snap was low, high.
So you know what Matt Eberflus said? He said, we wanted to ease the transition in for Tyson Bagent. It's like, no, dude, you took him out because you were worried that he was going to snap a high ball, turn the ball over because it's a rookie quarterback that's in there, and he's not playing. Why can't he just say, he was struggling out there, he wasn't snapping the ball well. And, dude, he said that Lucas Patrick was more of a veteran at center than Cody Whitehair. Okay, so we got the numbers here. You know how many total snaps that Cody Whitehair has done in his career at center? 3,928. You know how many Lucas Patrick has done? 1,258.
Wow.
And he's saying that Cody Whitehair is not as much of a veteran as Lucas Patrick. Like, he's just lies all the time to the media. The whole thing with the Chase Claypool deal, too.
I don't think Eberflus was lying about the.
No, he knows the.
I'm saying I'm sure he knows the results, but I think it takes time to make a crucial decision on what they're going.
Why not just say
they're probably stalling to make what they think is the right decision on if Fields is going to continue to be our next quarterback or Bagent is going to be in, because that's a big commitment.
Andrew, we're a 1-5 team. Who are we trying to fool?
I think you got to make
it's
sure
a big commitment, though. It's a big commitment.
So why not say that then? Why just dance around the question?
Because they're stalling so they can talk about what they're going to decide. You
I
know,
know, but-
they
Right,
don't.
but why
They
not?
don't want Eberflus going out there and saying,
We all
"Oh yeah,
know-
Justin
we all-
Fields is
I
still
know.
our guy,"
I
and
know.
behind closed doors, actually, never mind. We want fucking Bagent to be our guy. So
Yeah,
now
that looks worse.
Eberflus looks fucking stupid now.
No, I know.
So it makes sense why Eberflus
So
probably stalled there.
yeah, I don't know. What about the Lucas Patrick and Cody Whitehair thing then? Why did he lie to us about that? I don't know. Either way,
Yeah.
and the Chase Claypool.
Well, I mean, he's not a perfect coach, obviously. But
Dude, when you look
Dude,
at
it's all politics, man.
when you look at Matt Eberflus, do you think, man, he looks like a coach? No one really thinks that about it. I mean, at least I don't.
So, do you think Eberflus would do good on a good team, or do you think he's just not a football guy?
I think Matt Eberflus had a top 10 defense, and I mean top 10 meaning the higher top 10 on the Colts when we drafted him, and I feel like this is my honest opinion, like my own thought. Like I haven't heard anyone say this. This is just coming from what I'm thinking, and what I'm thinking is that Ryan Poles was kind of backed into the corner with this whole coaching deal, because like when he was looking for coaches, there wasn't. I mean, I wanted Brian Dable, but supposedly Brian Dable just wanted to be in New York, stay around there, because he was the New York Giants offensive coordinator. But anyway,
It's not working out too good for you, buddy.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
So maybe it was good, but that's a whole other story with Daniel Jones paying him way too much. Either way,
much for a mid quarterback.
but I think that he was backed into a corner, and he knew that this guy had some decent defense, top 10, upper top 10, wasn't a top 5. So I'm talking top 8, 9, 10 defense in the NFL that year, and he felt like, okay, I'll pick this guy up because there's really not a whole lot of options out there. The first year we're going to be mediocre. The next year we'll probably, maybe make the playoffs. And if we don't, I'm going to fire this guy and get rid of him and then, get a better coach. Because I feel like he wanted to take that year to get the number 1 overall pick.
Look,
and that's what happened.
if Matt Eberflus is not our guy in Ryan Poles' eyes, he needs to fire him now, and he needs to get a new coach in there.
You've never fired a coach midseason.
It doesn't matter.
I agree.
It doesn't matter. If they truly believe Eberflus is not our guy, stop kicking around. Stop stalling. Stop wasting time. Just get it over with and get a new football-minded guy in there and start changing the clubhouse culture.
You want me to hear Eberflus' tenure? You go.
No, go ahead,
Okay.
Joe.
No,
I'll go
yeah,
ahead.
Okay, so Eberflus' tenure here with the Bears, 4-19 overall record. He's 0-8 in the NFC North versus the NFC North teams. 0-8 in the NFC versus NFC North teams. 15 losses in 16 games. 10 straight home losses. We haven't won a home game yet. 0 2+ game win streaks. That's Matt Eberflus' tenure with the Bears.
Wow.
All right, sorry, Brandon.
No,
So someone needs to be fired.
No kidding.
I think to your guys' point, I think we can kind of make a little discussion out of this, and I'm going to ask you guys your opinions. But the first thing that I want to touch on is some statistics from last week's game, and maybe what you guys think moving forward we can do better, or how to resolve these issues that I'm about to bring up.
Yeah.
First things first, Minnesota Vikings. Through weeks 1 through 5, in that 5-week span for the Minnesota Vikings, they had 3 takeaways combined in those 5 weeks against other teams. They come to Chicago and play the Bears at home, and we give up 3 takeaways, meaning that once the Vikings play the Bears, they got the same amount of takeaways against us in Soldier Field, an equal amount from the 5 games prior. And obviously we all know the Vikings are a struggling team. So that's the first point I want to make. That's very ugly. Yeah. But I think what a big issue with the Chicago Bears is, and I've said this, and we've all said this, it's not their skill, it's their efficiency with how they play the game of football. And I think that can be attributed to a lack of guidance, a lack of leadership on this team, and absolutely a lack of coaching, to your point with Eberflus.
They also don't know how to win.
But hear me out, and this is why they don't know how to win. If you look at the stat sheet top to bottom of the entire game without knowing the final score, any betting man would say the Bears won this game. The reason I say this is because of this reason. If you look at the game in its entirety, in terms of first downs, the Chicago Bears had 18 first downs in the game. The Minnesota Vikings had 12. Okay? if I go down the list a little bit further, in terms of total yardage in Sunday's game, the Chicago Bears had 275 total yards, which is still suspect. That's not a good total yardage to have. But when you compare it to the Vikings, who only had 220 yards of total fucking offense in this game. That's 110 yards per half.
Without Justin Jefferson.
That's abysmal. Yeah, well, if they had Jefferson, it probably would have been more. But that's a good point. They didn't have Jefferson. Now, in terms of pass, now this is an important one. The Chicago Bears
Gets me pissed thinking about it.
113 passing yards on the entire game. That's Fields and Bagent combined. 113 in 4 quarters. They could only muster up a little more than 100.
Fields played longer though too.
Yes. Passing yards wise, the Vikings had more than us. They had 174. So we're going to edge that out to the Vikings. Fine. Rushing yards. The Chicago Bears had 162 rushing yards on the game to the Minnesota Vikings, who had 46 rushing yards.
And we lost this game.
Yes, that's quadruple the amount of rushing yards
Actually,
we had.
thank God we lost the game.
The Bears had 36 rushing attempts to the Minnesota Vikings 22, which, what does that mean? Because of all that run game that we produced, we also, our time of possession was over 35 minutes to the Vikings less than 25 minutes. We had 11 minutes more of possession time than the Minnesota Vikings. If you look up and down based on everything that I just said, and you were a betting man, what team do you think would have won this game? It's clear.
Without knowing the names.
Without knowing the names.
With knowing the names.
Without knowing the names.
With knowing the names,
knowing
100%
anything.
that changes it. But without, obviously, you got to go with.
Look, the Bears had abysmal
Or no,
amount
excuse
of
me,
passing yards.
the Chicago Bears.
The differentiator here was the turnovers, the inefficiency. The Bears can have more total yards. The Bears can have more time of possession. But how do you explain a team with the team statistics only scoring 13 points in a game? And I think a lot of that is attributed to the turnovers. So
Bad teams find a way to lose, and that's just a true fact from every sport across the world.
So my question to you, and I'll start with Andrew going from left to right.
Of course.
What do you blame for our inefficiencies? How do you explain that a game where our team stats were superior to the other team by a large margin, we still came out as the loser?
You know what, Brandon? I think this team is so used to losing games that it's becoming kind of like a trend. Well, it has been a trend. What I'm saying is this. I think the Bears genuinely do not know how to win a game. I think the head coach's job is to make a winning culture. I don't think the Bears have a winning culture by any means. Obviously, that's just stating facts. But I really think it's mental. I don't think these guys believe that they could win games. I think that every game they go into, they have a defeated mindset, and it's like, oh boy, we're going to lose again. You know, it's almost as if like they're playing to collect a paycheck at this point, because that's what it looks like. How could a team be so pathetically bad? I don't understand. I think someone has to step up. Someone has to be the guy, whether it's the head coach, whether it's the quarterback, whether they bring in some veteran who's a bona fide winner and teach the young crowd how to win a football game properly. That's what I think. I think it's all mental. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I have to, definitely agree with that, but I want to add that the Bears had 10 days to prepare for this game. Luke Getsy, he called 3 of the same plays in a row. That went nowhere. Like defenses have said that, we knew exactly what the play was going to be. It was called 3 times in a row. And I really think that Luke Getsy knows the limitations of Justin Fields. And I really think that Justin Fields, he really wants to be a good quarterback, and I think he has the mentality, no matter how bad they are right now, that he's going to come out there and play to his absolute best, and he does every game, and he's just not, he has a hard time reading defenses. They have to cut the field in half for him, so it makes it easier for him, and as soon as Tyson Bagent came out there, they started moving the ball more, getting it downfield, and they looked like, like a good football team. Besides, the interception at the end. But I think that a lot of it has to do with the coaching, Brandon, with Justin Fields. It's like they're trying to put this Packers like scheme around Justin Fields, and it doesn't work like it does for someone like Aaron Rodgers. But you could see that it was starting to work for someone like Tyson Bagent that knows he has to get rid of the ball fast, that knows he's more of a pocket passer. And Justin Fields, like, they had, like, dude, this was embarrassing. They had, like, his personal trainer come in on set 670 The Score, and this guy was so, like, the way he was talking about Justin Fields, it was just, like, the one guy on 670 The Score is like this laughing because of how ridiculous his so they're like, so tell us how Justin Fields is processing everything at an elite level. And he's like, they're like, how do you know this? To his personal trainer.
Yeah.
And literally what he said was that,
Alexa,
Shut
up.
Sorry, guys.
yeah, sorry, user operator error there.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they ask his personal trainer that I guess he does it, like, he works for like 18 of the guys for the Bears, supposedly. And had him come out and they're like, so tell us, how does he operate, or how does he think and operate at an elite level? How is he processing all this information? He's like, well, just by talking with him. One guy's like laughing like this off the corner. And they're like, what do you mean talking? Well, they're just like, I'm starting to understand, like, in his mind what he's talking about, like how he's like trying to like calculate where everyone's going all in his mind, and he's doing that at such an elite level that it's starting to become quicker within and the guy they're like looking at this guy like, are you nuts?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about, man?
Gosh.
Like, he is not the problem is that he's operating at an elite level by thinking too much information, holding on to the ball too long, because playing in the NFL, you have most people are like, not saying that Justin Fields is elite, but he's trying to operate a bunch of elite information all at once, and it's taking him too long holding onto the ball, and he's thinking about things too much, so he decides to bail and run out to the outside of the pocket, and then he gets tackled and dislocates his thumb. So that's what his problem is, and there's no changing that. He says he's too robotic, doing this and that. It's like, dude, they are trying to help you in making you, like Terry Bradshaw said, in order to be a good quarterback in the NFL, you have to be able to pass in the pocket. That's coming from a great
100% true.
Yes.
100%.
And he can't do it. And
He can't do it!
yeah, plain and simple, it's coaching trying to make Justin Fields something he's not, and it's Justin Fields not being able to perform as a quarterback in the NFL. He's a running
Joe,
quarterback.
So, hold on.
Hold on, let me say my thoughts real quick.
Okay.
Sorry.
Very good.
My only thoughts, and I'll keep it brief, is that it all boils down to leadership. This team doesn't have any leadership. You expect to see leadership out of a quarterback, but when you have young quarterbacks like Justin Fields, Tyson Bagent, they just aren't going to live up to those capabilities. Especially when they're underperforming, especially when they look like they're going to cry on the sidelines. There's no leadership on this team. Same thing can be said about Eberflus. He just doesn't seem to have any passion. He doesn't seem to have any fire. Look at what Detroit did. They brought in Dan Campbell, a fiery guy, and he turned a quarterback like Jared Goff, made Jared Goff believe in himself, and now the Detroit Lions are a fantastic team. They brought in some good pieces, but at the end of the day, it's all leadership. It's all leadership, and I think if you have good leadership, between the lines, you're going to produce. That's what I believe is the main issue.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all that stuff, man.
100%.
No, for sure. And feeding off of what you just said, Brandon, because I agree with you 100%. I said it's all a mentality type thing. The Bears don't really have that leader guy who's gonna. I'm not saying this specific quarterback, but I like what I see from Baker Mayfield. Like someone like Baker Mayfield who's very passionate,
Has that,
wears his heart on his sleeve, has the right attitude. You see him fired up throughout the game. I think the Bears need truly a guy like that. Not Baker Mayfield.
I think Tyson Bagent is that guy.
But the Bears are lacking, I think, that true captain of the team because Justin Fields wasn't
100%.
a
That's what
captain,
the issue
and,
is. 100%.
Hopefully someone can step
And
up.
I'll give you another example. Look at Miami. Like Mike McDaniels, he's
we would have picked him.
He's a great look. Mike McDaniels,
and his story is also incredible.
It is.
As plain Legos.
If
Right.
you haven't heard it, it's
Mike McDaniels is a very
Yeah.
relaxed coach, and I think you can see that throughout his entire clubhouse. But I will say, Mike McDaniels doesn't appear to be the greatest leader. He doesn't appear to be a guy that really is going to fire these guys up. But when
Guess
you
what?
but listen, when you take a team like Miami, you have guys in the clubhouse like a Tyreek Hill. On top of his
Big
skill,
egos.
listen, on top of Tyreek's skill, just his personality, just the way that he is, mixed with his skill, resonates throughout the entire clubhouse. And I think when you have a guy around like a Tyreek Hill, going into the game, he's going to alleviate a lot of pressure from all those other players because of just his ambiance and the way that he conducts himself, his professionalism, and also his ability to have fun going into the game.
Well, I also like Tyreek Hill because he tells it how it is. Like when he got up and said, Chase Claypool looks like a vending machine running routes, meaning that he gets paid to drop things. So, I mean, that's what you need. No one on the Bears said that. They're all like, they danced around the question with Chase Claypool. No, just fucking tell it how it is.
And
like
Joe,
Tyreek
this is
Hill.
going back to our
DJ
very
Moore
first
could do that.
podcast ever. This guy said the Bears need a clubhouse guy like Michael Irvin.
I did say
After the
that.
Super
Thank
Bowl, who
you.
said,
I want this fucking
you
guy
fucking
gone."
suck. Get the
Yeah.
fuck off the team.
Yeah.
You suck.
Absolutely.
And
Tyreek
that's
Hill's
why-
that guy.
yeah.
And
But
that's
DJ
why-
Moore could be that guy too. He's a good player. He could talk shit. you
And
know?
look how successful Colorado's been with primetime Sanders. I mean, they've been scuffling a little bit late, but they garnered so much hate, and it was jealousy because a guy like Deion Sanders came in, turned the whole organization around, made them relevant. That's what the Bears need, a leader like that. The Bears need a guy who's not afraid to say it like it is. And I'll go back. I always every time we do a podcast, even if there's not too much relevancy to the White Sox, which I think Andrew may or may not, be mentioning them later on. But look at a guy like Ozzie Guillen. I don't care what you say. He brought us to the promised land. He didn't bullshit.
I also said that in a previous podcast, Ozzie Guillen should be the head coach of the White Sox.
Yeah, and I'm not even necessarily saying that, but a guy like
Should be.
a
He
guy
should be.
like Ozzie Guillen is who you want.
He should be.
It's okay to be a little bit controversial if you're going to get the best out of your players. That's all that matters. Eberflus isn't getting the best out of all his players, and let's be honest, we're not in the locker room. Do you guys truly believe that all of his players truly respect Eberflus?
Everyone knows that question. No one respects Eberflus in that clubhouse.
I don't think they hang their they hang their hat on everything that he says.
Like
Besides
I said about 10 minutes ago, these Chicago Bears are going into the games collecting paychecks. That's all they're doing. And it's sad, but it's true. No one cares about winning.
That's why I can't wait for.
They care.
No,
They care about winning. They just
Doesn't look like it.
they care. Like deep down, I think they care. They just don't believe in themselves, and that is attributed to leadership, making them not believe that they can do it. Every fucking week, if I'm the head coach of the Bears, I'm going through tape. I'm going through this, and I'm gonna say, we can fucking do it. This is our fucking week to do it. Every fucking week I'm saying that. And I'm driving it into their heads until we get it done. Look, last thing. Look at how the Bears acted after they beat Washington. You saw them in the locker room popping
Positive
champagne.
energy,
Yeah. I'm not okay with that either. Don't celebrate one win when
It's actually pathetic.
act like you've done it before, right?
Beat a bad football team.
Act like you've done it
and we're
before.
popping champagne like you made the playoffs.
Act like you've done it before. That's all I'm saying. And I think again,
But-
Eberflus needs to get that out
Yeah,
there.
we won a Super Bowl.
But on the and I'm gonna play the
Yeah,
devil's.
we acted like we won the Super Bowl.
And I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here. I also kind of don't have an issue with them doing that, even after what I just said, because a team that has been so deprived of wins in their career, why not let them have the good life and the good taste
Yep.
of what it seems to
Well, 'cause you
be
kinda
like
have
to
to-
win.
you kinda have to earn it.
So if they have that much fun winning, why don't you just let them celebrate and maybe hey, I kind of want to celebrate next week as well. Let's play a little bit harder.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't
Well,
want
I
to sound
think-
cheesy, but if I'm Eberflus, I'm going into the locker room after that win and I'm saying, I'm driving it into their heads and I'm saying, get used to this, guys. Here's our turning point. We're going to start winning games. If we don't win games, we're going to shore up the reason why. But we are going to continue to win games. Get used to this.
You make them believe.
Make them believe.
Make
dude.
them believe. Even if
I don't care how
even if they're a
ridiculous that
mediocre
sounds.
football team, it's a mentality thing. If a person, what's that one saying about the dog and the lion? Just kind of drawing a blank.
The dog and the lion.
You know, like it's all a mindset. Like you could, we'll just actually, excuse me, I'll change that up. It was a picture of a pawn looking into a mirror, and it was a king, and in the mirror was a king. And even though it was a pawn, it was the mentality that pawn looks at himself like he's a king. You know, he's a winner. He's like the most important guy.
Great
That's what
analogy,
everyone
He's
should
motivated.
freaking have in the locker room.
Everybody
Everyone
in the
should
NFL,
be a dog.
Everyone in the NFL should look.
Everyone
at,
should go out
look
there
at
and
that
literally
way.
want to fucking kill their opponent. Not literally, but like, come on.
Dude, you are literally the premier athletes
Yes.
of the world in your sport. Go out there every day with as much confidence as possible. Don't ever go into a game thinking you're going to lose.
Exactly. So long story short, you could be a pawn inside of a freaking chessboard, but it's all your mentality that makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
You know, believe in yourself. Believe that you could win the game. Because at the end of the day, all of you have skill regardless. You made the NFL. That means you're good. Like it's funny to me that, like, you know, we can talk shit about these guys on the football field when none of us ever in our lives would even come close to doing what these guys did.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, is it skill or is it mindset? I think mindset is a
Leadership mindset.
Yeah, I think it's a big freaking role. I think it takes a big role in that.
Well, I think that this brings up the point that we should really get a lottery system for like the top 3 draft pick, or not the top 3, but like the first round, second, and third round should be a lottery system. I feel like, I don't know, just I feel like you would have to play then, like, because
Yeah.
you know, you'd have to try.
Yeah, and
You know?
lottery and not to change subjects, but going to baseball real quick. Baseball just put the lottery system
That's how it should be,
into the
man.
thing.
So
And
you can't teams can't purposely take.
quite frankly, I like it. I
should
like
be
that
like
it
that,
makes
man.
teams competitive.
Yes.
Or they have a more competitive edge
They can't
because
purposely
they're not
take.
guaranteed to have the number 1 spot. And I
Yes.
agree with that.
That's how it should be,
Um,
man.
Maybe not the second and third, but the first I could totally see.
Yeah. Is it
Yeah.
just the first in baseball?
Yeah, it's just the first. Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
first 4 picks. I think they have like 16, 14.
The first, maybe I think it should. Be
I think the first 4 picks have like a 14%.
I think it should be the
chance of
first 2
getting it.
rounds. Should be lottery.
So that's something I'm going to be looking out for. Like, I don't want to beat a dead horse, and I know that we sound cheesy as hell. But, you know, again, I think what I'm going to be looking for is not so much how well Tyson Bagent plays, not so much how well and efficient the Bears play as a whole, but by the end of this season, I want to see somebody step up as our fucking leader.
Yes.
That's what I
And-
want to see from this team.
yeah.
If I could at least see somebody, a mainstay, DJ Moore, hell, Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, I don't care. If someone on the line, Darnell Wright, if I want to see someone step up, put on the big boy shoes, and get this team going, no matter how bad of a season we have. If I could see the Bears sprout some sort of leadership this year,
Yeah.
that for me will be a big plus.
It is very important for a clubhouse to have a leader inside of it.
I-
Leaders all the time are not always liked. You know, you don't have to be liked as a leader. Quite frankly, you probably, you do want to be liked, but you want to be respected, and that's the main thing.
Boys, who had some dog in him this week, though? There's one player I can think of that really had some dog in him, and I'm not talking about Bagent.
I think Darnell Wright.
Darnell Mooney, or not Darnell Mooney. DJ Moore.
No. His name starts with a D.
Oh, Deontay Foreman.
Yes.
Oh, Deontay
Yes.
Foreman. Okay.
Deontay Foreman.
He was good, man. Like I said
He
before,
was.
he ran for over 900 yards
He
in the
was
last
very
11
good.
games with the Panthers. But
Yeah.
after Christian McCaffrey was
Yeah.
out, dude, I don't know, dude. The question that I'm asking, that'll seem like a lot of people are asking, when Khalil Herbert went out,
Yeah.
not Khalil Mack, Khalil Herbert
Yeah,
went out.
Khalil Herbert.
Why? How was he not active? He was drafted, or not drafted. He was picked up in free agency as our number 3 running back behind Roshan Johnson. And then when both of our 2 top running backs go out, Deontay Foreman isn't inactive on the roster. Did that make any sense to you guys? That made absolutely no sense to me. Whatever. Either way, they reactivated him. I don't know why they had him inactive. That made no sense. But anyways, they reactivated him. He came in. He's a good running back, man. He's definitely a number 2 running back. 100%. He could possibly even be a number 1. I mean,
Deontay Foreman looked
Yeah.
great. I think we have a crowded backfield, and I think Khalil Herbert played really well. And I think you've been saying it since day one.
6th-round draft
Roshan
pick.
Johnson's your boy also. So we got a crowded backfield. I don't necessarily think that Deontay Foreman. I understand why he wasn't getting the look, getting the snaps when we were healthy. But as a backup, currently, I think he looked fantastic on Sunday.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, I agree.
He had that dog in him.
I agree 100% too, man.
For sure.
And that's another thing. I mean, with Deontay Foreman, he was playing well. We were rushing the ball well. You guys heard it earlier. We ran for 162 yards on how many attempts? Again, it's just Tyson Bagent being a rookie. He made a mistake. He threw that ball deep. He totally underthrew the ball in that situation. They should have kept running the ball. They could have played some small ball. He should have made some mid-level passes when he had open looks. And I think the Bears would have won that game. And more importantly than the Bears winning that game, I really wanted them to score on that drive because Andrew would have had to take that shot on the board, which I cannot wait for that to happen.
You know who else had some dog in him? That we didn't
That's
mention?
not going to happen because I know I'm never going to lose. The entire season,
Tyler
I'm not going
Scott.
to take a shot at frickin' Malort.
Or
I
wide
guarantee
receiver
it.
Tyler Scott. I
Yeah,
thought he did
right
really
now.
good too.
Yeah, he did.
When Bagent kind of threw that one pass and he ran up and caught it, Tyler Scott.
Yeah.
I thought he was doing pretty good.
And it was nice to see Robert Tonyan get involved. I mean, Robert Tonyan was really good with the Packers last year.
Like I said, dude, it seems like everything was readjusted to Bagent and they started moving the ball down.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
No, they did.
Maybe it was just me, but it
Yeah,
seems
I want to see him get involved. I want to
Yeah.
see Tonyan get more involved. I mean, come on, you got Komet. Look at the Patriots when they had Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. To have 2 elite tight ends is a really good predicament to be in, and you can use them in many different ways. We got Komet. Let's use Tonyan too. So I'm saying.
Wouldn't you just love right now to have, let's say Matt Eberflus and Luke Getzey were here right now, and let's say behind closed doors, we could ask them whatever they want, not recorded. Wouldn't you love to hear the truth? And they have to tell you the truth. What's going on with Fields, man? Why?
Not even Fields with the Bears.
Yeah.
What's going on with your team?
Yeah, no, but I want to know about Fields though. More realistically, why does it seem like when Bagent came in, everything was readjusted. He started moving the ball out. And for Fields, everything's you're cutting the field in half for him. He's running it seems like the plays were different for why. I guarantee the answer would be because he has a hard time reading defenses. He has a hard time processing information. He's trying to process too much. I guarantee that's what they would say. I would feel great to hear that.
I'll play that game, Joe. So if we had Eberflus here, right, and we behind closed doors were able to ask him any question,
yes,
I wouldn't necessarily have a specific question, but what I would do is I would be assessing how he talks and how he portrays himself as a leader. In this situation, maybe he wouldn't be trying to do
Why
that.
do you lie to the media all the time?
But I would really he just comes off as a guy who just never has anything to say. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that could really rally the troops.
Supposedly,
Look at any war movie, dude. Look at anything. You need a guy with some fire.
according to Darnell Mooney, behind, in the locker room and stuff, he calls people out supposedly. Be Matt Eberflus, but in front of the media, he acts like he doesn't do that. But supposedly behind closed doors in the
Is that what they
room,
say?
That's good. That's what Darnell Mooney.
That's makes me that's good.
I'm
That's a
pretty
positive.
sure it was either. I'm pretty sure it was Darnell Mooney. That's
Yeah.
it. So either way, that's all I got for the Bears.
Yeah, same here.
Depressing.
Good session, boys.
Yeah.
On the Bears.
Great stuff on the Bears. I have a couple of things I want to say about the White Sox. A couple of things on the Cubs. And then a quick recap of what's going on about playoff baseball. So let's just dive right into it. Supposedly, the Chicago White Sox are interested in trading for Salvador Perez, who's on the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Royals. Everyone knows they're in the same division. There's a lot of concerns over that. So some of my personal concerns over the Salvador Perez rumors for the White Sox are Perez is owed $42 million over the next two seasons with a $2 million buyout and a club option for 2026. So there's a lot of money owed to a guy like Salvador Perez, who's 34 years old, which then leads to the question: if the Sox do, let's say, trade for a guy like Salvador Perez in the same division, meaning your prospects and your major league talent is going to be going towards a divisional rival, how much is left in the tank of Salvador Perez, and what would the White Sox give up for a guy like that?
How old is he?
He's 34.
Yeah, I would say. Well, so baseball, I mean, I know it's not like football. You can go a little longer with age. So 34 is probably, in football years, it's probably like, what, 27, 28 maybe?
Well, you gotta remember, Salvador Perez is a catcher. Catchers usually don't have the longest careers.
Okay.
So 34, I'd say, as a catcher, is getting up there in age.
To me, I'd want to start like, if you're kind of in rebuild mode and you want to start fresh. I always like younger, even with fantasy football, dude. I always try to, like I said, I'm in a keeper league, so we get to keep 7 every year. But I like to go for the younger guys that have potential that you could keep for a while. I mean, 34, man, that sounds old.
Even though he's turning 34 soon, Salvador Perez did have a decent season. He hit 255. He had 23 home runs. He had 80 RBIs. So he still provides some value and would be a clear upgrade in what the White Sox had in Yasmani.
Is he due for a decline though?
I think.
Like a slow
descent. Of course,
descent,
I think
maybe.
anyone at the age of 34 in baseball, you're kind of
so you want to take that risk.
a descent.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think the Sox have to do something. I think when you consider that Yasmani Grandal is off the books now, which does shore up some cap space for the White Sox, he's getting paid a good chunk of change. When you consider that the only other catcher that we really have is Sebi Zavala. Sebi Zavala should not be an everyday MLB player. I think what the White Sox could do is, I think for the short term, they can get a guy like Salvador Perez, maybe in his age 34, age 35 season, start him and have Zavala remain as the backup. And really what it is it's not an attempt to better the team per se. It's an attempt to have a stopgap for all of the catching prospects that the White Sox do have. That's what it is.
And I want to talk on that for a second. What you just said, 100% is a very good point. I think Salvador Perez would be a great catcher to kind of show all the catchers in the White Sox farm system the ropes. You just said all the farm system catchers that the White Sox have. The White Sox have 4 catchers in their top 30 prospects. Edgar Cuero being the number 3 prospect in their system, and Adam Hackenberg being number 27, who's damn near, major league ready. So I don't think Sebi Zavala is the guy that's going to be able to show these guys the ropes. I think the White Sox need to go out and get someone like a Yan Gomes type catcher, like a veteran. Maybe you could go cheaper and get a Tucker Barnhart, who is a good defensive catcher, who does call a good game, who is a good pitch framer, but he just simply will never hit a baseball in his entire life.
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Okay, so will the Sox make the playoffs next year?
No.
Okay, so is it worth signing a guy like this to mentor the young catchers if they're not even going to make the playoffs next year?
Well, 2 things. Number one, I mean, management and Jerry's job is to get people into the White Sox stadium. The White Sox, the way they are right now, I mean, they're not good. There's only one person worth mentioning on that team, and it's Luis Robert. The White Sox need to do something. I think this would be a step in the right direction, getting a solidified, good catcher out there who has some pop in his bat.
I would say if they're playoff contender ready or World Series contender ready, it's worth getting. But you just said they're not, so is it really a good idea to get them?
You know what I don't like? What I don't like is how everyone in professional sports, especially in baseball, I don't love how everybody's so hung up on the fact that, there has to be some sort of veteran presence there to, bring on the new generation.
Well, you saw what happened with Baltimore. They got murdered in the playoffs.
Well, look what.
No, that's not
Zach
that's
Wilson
not
with
the
Aaron
the
Rodgers.
point I'm trying to make is that
It helped a
why
lot
go
with
out
Zach Wilson.
and have to pay out, what's his name from the Kansas City? Salvador Perez. Why go out and eat up his contract or whatever the case is, or even if let's say Kansas City were to pay out more of it, what's the point of rostering a guy like that who's really just going to eat up playing time from other people? For example, the Chicago White Sox have Hackenberg, our number 27 overall prospect. He's projected 2024. Why not? If that's your projection, why not just have him come up? Let the guy struggle a little bit as a backup catcher. Sebi Zavala, I don't love the guy. I don't think he's a starter in this league, but he is more proven. So why don't you just go with the platoon of a guy like Zavala as the everyday guy, and then have a guy like Hackenberg as our number 2 catcher, and just start to get him plate appearances, start to get him real reps in games, a couple games a week, if anything. Otherwise, you're just letting Salvador Perez at that point get those at bats, get that playing time, because, and my point is that if the veteran presence is important and it does play a major factor, but I disagree with it in the fact that that's why you have coaches. Why would you need a guy like Salvador Perez and start self-proclaiming him as the catching coach for these young guys? You should have a veteran catcher, like the catcher's coach or your offensive coordinator or whomever the fact is. They should be able to do that themselves.
How big of a impact do catchers make in baseball, would you say? Like, how crucial?
Very, very crucial.
So it is.
Extremely crucial.
So like,
Extremely
you see what
crucial.
how good Zach Wilson has been playing lately
Yeah.
on the sideline now that Aaron Rodgers is tutoring him, helping him. So
Yeah.
I would say if they make that big of an impact, do the Sox have a lot of cap space, like to be able to afford something like this and make it worth their while?
I mean, they could afford something like this. Do they want to is a whole different question.
So
If
yes,
it makes
they
that big of
could.
an impact, maybe it is worth it then to tutor. Like, do we have like a young prospect catcher for the Sox that this guy Perez could come in and mentor him and make him like elite, like him?
I guess
himself,
my
or-
only argument is that, and again, I might sound crazy, but why get an aging Salvador Perez? Yes, he's a veteran. Yes, he has the World Series.
Well, don't
experience.
forget, you
Yes.
could also slot him in at DH, which is another good bat in the lineup, as well as you
He's a
could
good
also
hitter.
have Hackenberg play catcher. So,
Yeah.
If Salvador Perez is your everyday DH, you're in trouble.
I'm not saying he's the everyday DH.
I'm just.
I'm
Well,
just
no,
saying
I
that
get what you're
that
saying. You
is
could slot him
yeah,
in
you
either
could
way.
slot him in,
I get it.
You theoretically could still have everyday playing time for Hackenberg, let's say, and still get a guy like Perez. Obviously, if you're getting a guy like Perez, you're going to want him to catch, but
But if you could mentor a younger player,
Yeah.
like, do they have like a young good
look,
prospect?
I
Or-
think it all, like, Joe, I will get to your point in 1 second.
Yeah,
but
sure.
But I truly believe that if the White Sox technically will not have to give up anything if they go out and eat up the rest of that contract. So if the White Sox take on that contract, I believe Kansas City 100% will want to dump that contract because they're a smaller market team that can allocate those funds elsewhere.
Yeah.
But if the White Sox, Jerry, doesn't want to pay that bill, then yes, he would have to give up prospects, which I think would be a terrible idea. It's all just,
It's a gamble,
it's all
essentially.
just speculation.
Yeah.
Like the White Sox could easily not need Salvador Perez. There's just been rumors flying around, and it was.
No, Andrew, I will say it was.
It's kind of a hard decision.
It was a good thing to bring up. I
Yeah.
think this was a good discussion. I think it was definitely worth talking about.
I'm
You know,
just
and-
looking at it
yeah.
at a football point
Yeah.
of view, like
Yeah.
with what Aaron Rodgers did with Zach Wilson, and like I don't know, like I have admitted, like I don't know a ton of things about like especially the Sox. I'm more of a Cubs fan, but
Yeah.
like if they have a young good prospect that's kind of struggling a little bit as a catcher, and this Perez dude could elevate this guy to the next step, like Aaron Rodgers has been doing with Zach Wilson. And it looks like Zach Wilson could possibly be now the face of the franchise. I would say maybe it is worth paying this dude $42 million. You know, I don't know though, dude. Like,
I mean, you could have 3 years of Salvador Perez if they go after him. Who knows how good he'd be at the end of the contract, but I'm sure he would still provide some.
Andrew,
value.
what I'm saying is like you're not really hiring him so much to like win the games and make the playoffs and World Series. You're hiring him more to mentor and train
Yes.
young catch. Yes,
And
which is
also,
the thing that they do. People
Also,
do in
Joe,
sports.
to your point,
Yeah.
Salvador Perez has playoff experience. Salvador
Right.
Perez is a World Series champion, which also brings in
How young of a
much-needed
team
value.
is the Sox? Are they a younger team, or they got veterans, or?
It's a mix.
Okay.
They're
So I was gonna
they
say,
have
'cause
veterans.
It could
and
help
they
with the
have
locker
young
room.
kids.
Too.
They have-
Bringing a guy like him in, culture, locker room
And
stuff.
Salvador
I would
Perez
say the
is
White
of
Sox
that,
are a young team that's aging.
So they could bring a younger guy or an older, more experienced guy into the locker room and help guide that the whole entire team. It seems like that's becoming a more custom thing to do for a professional sports team is bringing in veterans and paying them a bunch of money basically just to be this mentor.
See, that's where you're dead wrong, Joe. That's where you're dead wrong, Joe, because in the White Sox history, for as long as I've been watching them for the last 20 years,
I'm not saying the
that
White
is
Sox,
what
I'm saying-
has actually plagued them the most.
Really?
Is that the White Sox are notorious for going after aging veterans, expecting to have them be super productive later in their career. Right with Salvador Perez turning 34, turning 5, that's right in their strike zone. That's what's
Well, it doesn't
plagued this
work with every
organization.
team.
Ken Griffey Jr., Jimmy Rollins, literally there's so many.
Manny Ramirez,
Everybody. There's so many that I mean, seriously, I could probably bring up a list of 20 guys that the White Sox
James
have
Shields.
tried to James Shields, and who did we get rid of?
Well, then it sounds like this is a bad
Stupid.
idea then if it's doesn't work. for
That's why I'm apprehensive. I get everything. I get the mentoring. I get
Yeah.
the veteran. I get the young prospects coming up under him. But at the end of the day, as a Sox fan, I look at this as another busted opportunity of getting a veteran who's just going to delay our progress even further. I think there's going to be more damage to be done by signing Salvi than by signing him. There's going to be more damage than not, because what's going to happen is, again, let these young guys learn the ropes. Let the coaches mold these guys to what they're going to be, and not just see some veteran come in who's going to struggle on his own. He's past his prime. I'm over it. As a Sox fan, I'm over seeing these veterans be signed.
So, Brandon, you're saying the Sox have done this. They're historically known to do stuff like this.
Yes.
So it sounds like a bad idea, then,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Andrew, is that valid to an extent?
I mean, what he said is valid.
Because some
for sure.
some teams it does work for, or in some situations it does work. I mean, look at Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I think Patrick Mahomes probably would have been good on any team, but the example I always keep bringing up is Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, and I really feel like that's why they hired Aaron Rodgers, paid him a bunch of money to mentor this young quarterback because he was having some severe struggles in the NFL. Now he's passing on the dime. It's amazing. All of a sudden Rodgers comes in and this guy's like a fucking elite quarterback.
I guess just to play a little bit of devil's advocate, Joe, I think this was somewhat by design. I don't think I will give Zach Wilson his credit. It's much deserved. I think having Aaron Rodgers probably boosts his confidence, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Rodgers is a leader, but this team is good. The Jets team is good. They have an elite defense. They brought in.
It's not just that, but yes.
They signed Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
They have Breece Hall back. They're a good team. So it's not like it's all Zach Wilson.
Right, it takes pressure off the quarterback.
Yeah, for sure.
So
now imagine if they had a healthy Rodgers. They'd be lethal.
I think so.
So
too.
I think we all are in agreement that the White Sox should probably look elsewhere.
Yeah, after hearing that history, yes.
I think, and I do agree. I think it would be nice to have a guy like Salvador Perez on any team. He obviously still provides value. He's still good, but it's always a gray area when you're trading in-house division. So, personally, the White Sox should just call up one of the rookies, Tucker Barnhart, make a low-tier trade with another team. There's a lot of other solid veterans out there who could provide the same value.
Or maybe if you could get them for a cheaper deal.
Yeah,
but it doesn't
but
sound like
I
it.
think we covered the Salvador Perez segment of this, and moving on to another big segment that I'm excited about. Really, I am. I'm going to drop a bombshell here. Is Tim Anderson a White Sox in 2024? Does he start the season with the White Sox? Is Tim Anderson is the starting shortstop or second baseman for the White Sox in 2024? First game of the season.
You did drop a bombshell on us.
That's a bombshell. It really is.
What do you think?
I think
it's a tough decision.
I think that he does. I think that Tim Anderson remains on the White Sox because I think that he doesn't have, if he had any value, which he did for a while, I think a lot of his value has gone down. And I think I'm going to sound super hypocritical, and I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but I will say that Tim Anderson, to me, is a different type of player than Salvador Perez. Tim Anderson's still younger. Tim Anderson has still shown tremendous amounts of value. He's a White Sox. He's one of the longest tenured White Sox right now. I think a guy like Anderson, who actually does show those leadership qualities in-house, and he has done that, I think with a guy like Colson Montgomery coming up and probably kicking Anderson to second base, I think they actually considered keeping Anderson for two reasons. One, his trade value is much less than it would be. Two, his contract's pretty low as it is, so it's not like you're overpaying this fucking guy. And three, I think that Tim Anderson actually could help Colson Montgomery to an extent. Like I said, I'm sounding like a hypocrite. I just went and said how I don't love that, but in this situation it makes sense because
he's cheaper.
Yes, but I think it makes sense because the White Sox, unlike the catching position where you can just, what extra value is Perez going to give you over Zavala? Not much. And then you have a guy like Hackenberg who's coming up. So my point is, the White Sox simply do not have a fucking second baseman. They haven't had a second baseman in 10 years. Why not have a guy like Colson Montgomery come up and then have a guy like Tim Anderson shift over? That way you're kind of filling the position and you're giving him that veteran status. In this situation, it makes sense to me. What do you think?
I don't think Tim Anderson's a White Sox to start the season. And I'm just going to read something real quick. Tim Anderson has a $14 million club option for the 2024 season, and with a $1 million buyout. Tim Anderson the current season is still going on, was just a complete, utter embarrassment of a season. Not only did his production, not only was that embarrassing, his attitude was also embarrassing. You could obviously tell he wants out of Chicago and is dying to get out of Chicago. And the new GM of the Chicago White Sox even said in an interview, that the upcoming decision on Tim Anderson is going to be extremely exhaustive. Like tiring.
Can I say something?
Yeah, well, 1 second. I also think it would be much cheaper to get rid of Tim Anderson and sign a guy like, let's say, Whit Merrifield, who could also play second base, who could also fill in at shortstop if needed, and who could also play all positions of the outfield. I think that would maybe provide a little bit more value than Tim Anderson at the moment.
That's on me.
Yeah.
If I had full transparency, and maybe next time you can give me a fucking bone here. If I had known that Anderson had a $14 million club option, I would have said fuck no.
Yeah.
As far as I knew, Tim Anderson's been on like a 7-year, $25 million contract.
Yeah.
So to hear that he's club option for $14 million, only a $1 million buyout.
Yeah.
no chance he returns.
I would have said
that changes things for me.
I would have said no just for the fact that he doesn't want to be in Chicago anymore.
You know, it's tough. It's tough. You know, Tim Anderson's a well-respected White Sox. He's been with the organization for a while. White Sox fans obviously respect him. But I just think it was so obvious how bad he wanted out of Chicago this year. And I think the organization is going to probably grant him that offer because the White Sox have proven in the past they don't like paying big contracts. They could definitely go out and sign a cheaper second base option if they're going to bring up Colson Montgomery. Yeah, Chris Getz offered absolutely zero assurance that he'd be back, and that's kind of that kind of makes me lean towards he's not returning because a guy like Tim Anderson.
Here's a good point though. I don't think that Tim Anderson played bad on purpose. I don't think we can give Tim Anderson a pass.
No, I'm not saying he played bad on purpose.
I think from a personal, like we all know this.
He's just sick of losing.
Baseball is a very unique sport in that it's
He's
very
a competitor.
it's a very independent sport in terms of your statistics.
Yeah.
Hockey, football, a lot of your statistics are dependent on your team. Whereas in baseball, you can be on the horrible team and still. Maybe the counting stats aren't going to be great, but he still could have had the average. He still could have had the hit number. He still could have been our leadoff guy. He still could have stayed healthy. So my point is, if all things equal, if Tim Anderson knew that he had a potential club option season for $14 million, which is almost damn near what he made in the last 6 fucking years.
Yeah.
If he really wanted to cash out and make money, he would have done that, and I think he would have tried producing more, and I think he did try to produce this year. I think he went down with the ship, but I still pin that on Anderson. That's my point. I think Anderson has proven it in years past that he could still be a dog on this team when other players are struggling. Tim Anderson was always a dog on this team when Eloy kept getting injured, when Luis Robert kept pulling his hammies and going out for 2 months, when Moncada couldn't stay on the field. Anderson and Abreu were dogs even when this team, although was decent, still had a lot of flaws. Last year, this team had a lot of flaws. Anderson could have got the job done. He could have secured that $14,000 club option, or $14 million. Or he could have just made his trade value all that much better if he really wanted to play on a contending team. So, I don't know. That's a hard one, too.
I do want to say one thing. Maybe he'll go play for the Marlins and join Chase Claypool at the bar for a drink and talk about how much they hate Chicago together.
Yeah, maybe.
And you know what, Joe?
Honestly, I do kind of see a fit in Miami with Tim Anderson.
I told you.
You want to know what the sad thing is, though?
Yeah.
It's justified, man,
Yeah.
for both of them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even argue it.
Yeah. So, that's some good stuff on Tim Anderson. I guess stay tuned and see what happens with Tim Anderson and the White Sox, with Chris Getz. But I want to, moving on, I want to give some love to a guy in the White Sox, top prospect. He's their number one top prospect. His name is Colson Montgomery. As a Cubs fan, I could easily admit that this kid is going to be a stud. I think there's no debate that this kid will be the everyday shortstop for the White Sox for many years to come. His scouting grades, according to MLB.com, and these are out of a 20 to 80 scale, 80 being the highest, 20 being the lowest. If you're a 20, you probably don't deserve to be an MLB. But I will say this: it's extremely rare to see a prospect, even a very highly touted prospect, to hit that 70, 80 mark. I think there's only 3 80 stats out there that were given, and one of them is PC on the Cubs for his fielding. But these are Colson Montgomery's scouting grades. His hit is 60. That's well above average. His power is 60. That's well above average. His run is 50. That's pretty good. His arm is 55. He can throw the ball. His strong arm. His fielding is 55. His overall is 60. And these are some of the things that they said about Colson Montgomery, according to MLB.com and John Heyman. Montgomery has impressed evaluators with his ability to make advanced swing decisions for a youngster, rarely chasing pitches out of the strike zone. For a young kid to have that plate discipline that young is really insane to hear. So I'm very impressed when I listen to that. Laying off difficult offerings and pounding the ones he should. So he has a good eye on what he wants to hit, and he's a very patient batter, which means he's going to get on base, which means he's probably going to steal a lot of bags. So that's what you want to hear out of a young kid coming up. He has focused on controlling the strike zone, using the entire field, and making consistent hard contact early in his pro career. So he's not striking out, which is a very important thing in today's game. His hitting ability, bat speed, projectable strength, leverage, he should provide plus power once he starts launching more balls in the air. So he just needs to focus on, that swing a little bit more, and he'll be driving the ball out of the field and into gaps more often. But just off of the scouting grades and just off of that report on Colson Montgomery, I mean, there's a lot to be excited about for this kid. Opinions?
Yeah, it sounds really exciting. I was gonna when you said that he doesn't like to swing out of the batting box, out of at balls. He likes. He has a good eye for hitting strikes. I was thinking, I kind of whispered to you, Morel.
Yeah.
Because Morel,
I heard it. Chris Morel. He's a Javi Baez 2.0.
Yeah.
I mean,
so which is encouraging to hear.
That was very encouraging. That's like the number one thing you want to hear from a young kid. Right. A dude who rarely chases pitches out of the strike zone, who knows what he wants to hit, who's very patient. That sounds like very good to me. Brandon?
Absolutely.
I mean, as a White Sox fan, how are you feeling about the hype over this kid? Because this kind of reminds me of not Chris Bryant level player, because Chris Bryant was a top 5 player in baseball, but still a very, very good prospect that people are taking an eye to.
Yeah, and I have high expectations for Colson Montgomery because he was also drafted really high in the first round. So we definitely went out on a limb to get this kid, and I think kudos to the White Sox scouting team. I think they did do a good job. This kid is looking good. I think he is more of a natural third baseman in terms of physique and ability.
Yeah.
So in the future, I could see him moving over to third. To your point, I do see a lot of Chris Bryant in this kid. They have a similar build, similar skill set, and I'm very hyped for that reason. But what I will say is the Houston Astros are currently in their 7th ALCS in a row.
Schwarber had a home run.
And the reason that they've been able to accomplish such a feat, which has barely been seen in MLB history, which makes sense, is that in all 7 years, they haven't dipped below second in strikeout rate, meaning that this team puts the bat to the ball from the number 1 hitter to the number 9 hitter, and they've done that for the last 7 years. And they've had nothing but success for that. So when I hear a guy like this who's going to come in, he has, power. I'm looking less at power and just looking more at raw contact, and he has the ability to do that. We need more guys on our team like that. That's why, and I still till this day joke around with Andrew and Joe, is that Nick Madrigal is not a game-changing, team-changing type of player, but it really hurt seeing us get rid of him as a White Sox fan, because he was one of our only guys at the time who really was that contact-esque guy. So till this day, I still look at Nick Madrigal and I miss that, because this team does not have the contact, which is really what has plagued us for so long. And that's why a guy like Tim Anderson has built such a rapport with Chicago White Sox fans. So long story short, Andrew and Joe, I think I'm extremely excited for Montgomery. I have very high expectations with him because of his draft, where we drafted him. And I want to see more guys like a potential Montgomery on this team going forward.
Yep, no, very true. So there's a lot of buzz going on about Colson, so stay tuned on daily updates or weekly updates for him. But going back to what you said about Nick Madrigal is what I like to call a championship bench player. That's what, and I'm not talking shit by saying that. I truly, every team that's good needs a guy like Nick Madrigal that comes off the bench, who plays solid defense, who is a very good pinch hitter, who makes contact. He provides a lot of value. We love you on the north side. your first season was a little shaky, but this season you really panned out for us well. But I covered everything about the White Sox. Does anyone have anything they want to add, or I'm going to continue on my notes?
Yes.
All right, moving on.
Andrew, I have a question.
Yes.
Would you rather have, and Joe, you can answer this too. Simple fact is, would you rather have 9 Trey Turners in your lineup or 9 Kyle Schwarbers in your lineup? Clear difference in their skill sets.
Yeah.
Who is going to make your team more successful?
I'm picking Trey Turner all day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I think just
Hitting.
Kyle Schwarber's defense at all positions of the diamond terrifies me. So I think that alone makes me go Trey Turner.
What about, okay, let's eliminate that.
Yeah.
I know this is nonsense, but let's eliminate the defense, because you're right. That alone,
Yeah.
right, is a decision right there. But
Just batting?
just batting. What do you value more, 9 Schwarber batters or 9 Trey Turner batters?
9 Trey Turner batters. I mean, yes, Schwarber is going to get on base more often, but he's also going to strike out at an alarming rate. So it's literally going to be nothing but home runs.
Less speed.
Far less speed.
We all know
Yeah.
most guys that have that kind of power.
Far less contact.
Yeah.
I'm going with Trey Turner all day. I
Okay.
think that's an easy question.
Joe, do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. If anyone wants to write in the comments and debate us why we're wrong on that, I would love to have you on the podcast through Zoom, and I'll debate you on that all night long. But Chicago Cubs notes. I don't have too much on the Chicago Cubs, but some important things. John Heyman of the New York Post reported that the Cubs are parting ways with 2 of their coaches. Game strategy coach Craig Driver and bullpen coach Chris Young will not be back with Chicago in 2024.
David Ross.
David Ross, he should have been with them, but for whatever reason, the Cubs front office has a weird relationship with Ross, where he almost seems like he's untouchable.
Weird behind.
Yeah, no, they just really favor David Ross for whatever reason. When I'm speaking for every Cubs fan here, because I probably know more than all you. No one wants David Ross in the Cubs team anymore. They don't want him as coach. If you do want him, you're probably a casual fan. Sorry, I said it, but I do agree with both of those. Game strategy coach Craig Driver. I'll be honest, I'm not really that educated on that, but you saw how terrible the Cubs bullpen was this year, so it's nice to see them do something about that and get a new guy in there. We'll see how that pans out, but moving on. Not the Cubs, but it impacts the Cubs greatly in division. One of our arch nemesis, arch rivals, Brandon Woodruff, is expected to miss the entire 2024 season. On October 13th, he had surgery on his shoulder, so he will be out the entire year. This is a massive blow to the Brewers. We're talking a front line starting pitcher, an ace on majority teams out there.
Is he right-handed too?
He's right-handed. The Brewers already don't have the best offense, so they rely on a pitching-dominant team. They're a pitching-dominant team with that bullpen with Kevin Williams and Corbin Burns, Freddie Peralta, and Woodruff. So that's a big blow. So we'll see what they do to replace Brandon Woodruff this season or this offseason. So that's exciting.
I was going to say, real
Yeah.
quick, how do you think that impacts the way that the Brewers handle the offseason in terms of signings?
Well, they're going to have to be aggressive. They're going to have to go out and get their guys, because not having Woodruff the entire season, that heavily lessens your pitching depth, really. So now you only got Corbin Burns, who was good this year, who is still a very good pitcher, but he wasn't like the Corbin Burns of the past. Freddie Peralta had a bounce-back season from his injury-plagued season in 22. But other than that, I mean,
I could see Nola as a future Brewer, especially now that they have a huge incentive for that.
I don't know. I just think they're not a big market team. Are they willing to pay a premium dollar for a guy like Nola? Because it's also interesting. The St. Louis Cardinals went out on paper and said that they are heavily pursuing Aaron Nola this offseason. So
Even more reason for the Brewers.
that could be more reason for the Brewers. to want to go out and sign a guy like that. But I think they'd rather just spend money on re-signing guys like Corbin Burns instead of paying a new guy, you know. So I don't really see the Brewers getting a top-of-the-line pitcher. Probably more so just like a low-tier depth starting pitching, in my opinion. But that is a massive blow to the Brewers. I think the Cubs need to go out and be aggressive and capitalize on this entire thing. I think with even the way this season ended, I think the Cubs are in the driving seat for being the top dog next year in that division.
Good. Playoff.
But that being said, we need another pitcher. We need another bullpen piece, multiple bullpen pieces, and the big question: who's going to replace who's going to replace Cody Bellinger if, let's say, he does leave? So that's going to be a big thing also because he was very good for us last year. But that's all I have in the Cubs. Moving to playoff baseball, just a quick recap of what's going on. The Dodgers were swept by Arizona. For most people, that's a shock. For me, I completely saw it coming, so that doesn't shock me at all. Phillies eliminated Atlanta in 4 games. I think both of these teams were very evenly matched. It was just a good series all around. You know, too bad Atlanta couldn't eliminate the Phillies, but the Astros knocked out the Twins in 4 games. Everyone saw that coming. But, all right, boys, question. National League Championship Series, and I just want to reiterate, the Phillies are up 2-0 against Arizona. Is there any chance Arizona comes back from being down 2-0 to the Phillies?
Zero.
Zero chance.
I mean,
agree.
I don't know. They came back and made it to the playoffs somehow. So I think there's maybe a chance.
I mean, there's always a chance, but is it likely? Probably not. So
I'd rather kind of have I'd rather have the Diamondbacks just because we've already seen the Phillies and Astros in the World Series. I mean, I really don't want to see that again.
yeah.
For me, it's this simple, Andrew. Diamondbacks lost with their 2 hogs on the mound.
Zach
They lost
Gallen
with
got
Zach Gallen
murdered.
and Merrill Kelly. It's over. It's over and done.
I agree. Arizona.
Nothing else to say about
Arizona, just look forward to the next season because you guys are going to be sitting on the couch soon. American League Championship Series, Texas versus Houston. I also want to reiterate that Texas is up 2-0 against Houston. So, is there a chance Houston comes back and takes the ALCS?
100% chance.
I agree. A team like Houston, who's been in the World Series almost every
Pretty sure
season,
they're winning right now. Game
yeah,
3.
Yeah. I mean, you can never count out the Houston Astros, even to a team like Texas, who has a deadly lineup. But that doesn't answer my question. Who's gonna win the pennant on the AL side? Texas or Houston?
Honestly,
I mean, I'm kind of a Kyle Schwarber fan, so maybe I would say. But I already saw, like I said before, the Phillies and the Astros in the World Series, so it'd be nice to. I don't want the Phillies to win. So I mean, I don't care if it's the Texas or Houston. But
No, good point, Brandon. Do you think Texas or Houston is going to be hosting that pennant?
I want Texas. Don't get that confused with Houston.
I know that's
the
what I
same
just
state.
kind of fucked up.
No, but I want Texas to win. But if I had to actually like make a bet on this, I'm not going to bet against the Astros. If it was 3-0, I would, but 2-0 is not enough for me. The Astros are the Astros, and I'll leave it at that. Yordan Alvarez is playing out of his mind. Just wait till the Astros get a second start out of Verlander, a second start out of Valdez. A deficit of 3-1 can turn to 3-3 in a heartbeat. So I'm not going against Houston.
So are you saying Houston?
I'm saying Houston.
All right. I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I think Texas has this championship series locked up. I think Texas has way too much firepower on that team to choke the rest of this series. Valdez hasn't been pitching good for a while now. Justin Verlander hasn't been pitching that well either. So anytime you have a guy like Corey Seager and Marcus Semien and all those, it's a scary team. So I'm going with Texas. I'm going with Phillies against Texas. And we'll see what happens from there. But that's all I got for baseball, gents.
Good podcast, boys.
Yeah, that's all I got for baseball. We gotta still review the beer.
I got a short
You know,
segment on
we
the
gotta
Bulls,
actually, excuse me, we
Predict.
forgot to do predictions.
Yeah.
for the
I was
Bears.
going to
Yeah, we
mention
did.
that, but I didn't
You're
want
right.
you were in a rant
Yeah.
with the baseball, so I didn't want to interfere. But yeah, just a short thing on the Bulls. Just to mention them. I mean, it's still the preseason. They've played 4 games. They're 2-4. They have one more preseason game tomorrow. They play Oklahoma City on Wednesday. That'll be their real first game. Preseason games, who cares? I mean, yeah, they're down, but I mean, I'm not crazy about the preseason. So we'll see what happens. I think the Bulls will be competitive this year. Everyone's kind of knocking on them. I mean, it sucks that we don't have Alonzo Ball, but I think they will still be competitive and make the playoffs. But we'll see. We'll know more, a quarter of the way through the season. That's really all I got on the Bulls. So,
Good stuff.
yeah, not a lot.
Good update.
But I take it we're jumping into
Let's get these predictions,
predictions,
Yeah.
huh?
Nothing on the Blackhawks, I guess. Huh?
We got nothing on the Blackhawks this
Yeah.
week.
in. Nothing on the Blackhawks this week.
We'll give you guys a good
Yeah.
recap of what's going on next week.
So we are drinking a s'more stout. It is made by Big Muddy Brewing Company. That is in Murfreesboro, Illinois.
Do you want to do the prediction for the Bears first?
No, let's do this.
Oh crap!
We'll do
Yeah.
that after.
Well, yeah. Now that I started this, so 5.5% alcohol in the beer. This is what is on the website. How they describe it. It's a biscuity and chocolatey with a creamy and fluffy natural toasted marshmallow flavor. After you try it, you'll want s'more.
Hey, say it like you mean it. Like really get in depth with that detail. Come on.
Biscuity and chocolatey with a creamy and fluffy natural toasted marshmallow flavor. After you try it, you'll want s'more.
Now that sounds like a good beer to me. Biscuity, chocolatey, creamy.
To be honest, I'm not big on stouts. I like Guinness. That's like probably one of my favorite stouts. So if you don't know a lot about stouts, we're kind of reviewing all, like IPAs are more known for that hoppy taste. Stouts are more known for like dessert beers. That's kind of what they are. Some can have high alcohol in it. Usually it ranges anywhere from 5. I think Guinness actually has 4-point-something%. So it could range anywhere from 4 to like a higher percent, like 12. They're sweeter beers. They're thicker. They're usually dark in color. A lot of them are like made with like dessert flavors. Like chocolate is a popular one. A lot of them are coffee flavor as well. This one is s'mores, for instance. I'm not, like I said, I'm not crazy about stouts, but I mean they're like a good, like, if you're sitting by like a campfire, if you're like inside a nice cozy house by your fire, why can I not think of it?
Fireplace.
Your fireplace, yes. Jesus, man. Anyways, you're sitting by your fireplace drinking the beer. It's good for that kind of stuff. Cold nights, maybe, whatever. If I had to rate the beer on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 5 out of 10.
So obviously I don't really have to give much of my opinions in the show. I think covered all of that. But I'm gonna go with 7 out of 10. I actually enjoyed it.
Good. Happy to hear. Yeah, so I had interest. So for me, I was able to try this beer both cold and both warm. The first time I had it warm, and it started off really well. As you got down through the bottle, it started to get a little bit not so good. But when I actually chilled this beer, surprisingly, thinking that it might even be worse, since it's more of like a dessert beer. You eat a s'mores, it's warm, right? I actually thought this was a pretty good beer cold. I think it was even better. So for me, you know what? Andrew, I think 7 was a good rating. I'm going to go a little bit more than that. I'm going to go with the 7.5. And that's just an initial thing. If I were to drink it long term, we'll see how that would vary. But 7.5.
Yeah, and I also kind of gave it brownie points because I like how there's like Sasquatch, sitting by a fireplace, roasting some s'mores. It's kind of some cool.
Yeah, like how they have.
cool
I
artwork,
just noticed they have that
Yeah.
fire there.
Very cool artwork.
Yeah.
So overall, I think it was a good beer. Brandon thinks it's a good beer. Joe thinks it's an average beer. He never said it was a bad beer, so I think we all are in agreement. It was a pretty good tasting beer. But
Yeah.
let's jump into score predictions for the Bears against the Raiders. Joe, do you have your score ready?
Yes, I do. So they play the Las Vegas Raiders. I believe they play. Yeah, they play in Vegas.
It's in Chicago.
Is it in Chicago?
Chicago.
Shit, sorry. It's in Chicago. Tyson Bagent is going to be our starting QB, considering Justin Fields dislocated his thumb. It sounds like he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, maybe surgery. But the Las Vegas Raiders also have Jimmy Garoppolo out. They have a backup, O'Connell. His first name is Aiden O'Connell. He will be starting for the Raiders. Yeah, a lot of question marks going into this game. On just you got two backup quarterbacks going in. I think that we have a really good chance with Tyson Bagent. I think he's going to shock a lot of the people. Like I said earlier on this podcast, I think he is going to light the NFL on fire. I think he scores 3 to 4 touchdowns throwing, and maybe like Roshan Johnson runs one in for a touchdown. I think that the Bears score 28 and the Raiders 17.
I like that. That's a good prediction.
I'm going with 24 Raiders, 14 Bears.
That's a good one, too. I like your guys' predictions. I'm also going to side with the Raiders winning this game. We got 2 rookies. It's in Soldier Field. I don't know what the weather's going to be. It's starting to get a little bit colder. They might not be as loose. I'm thinking it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm going to go 20 to 14 Raiders.
20 to 14 Raiders. Okay.
Oh.
What did you say?
24 to 14. You're just trying not to take the damn shot.
Not true. No, that's honestly, I forgot what your prediction was. That's how I felt in my heart.
Hey, I did text Andrew earlier saying that if Tyson Bagent isn't the franchise quarterback, I will do 3 shots of Malort. So
Actually, I totally forgot he said that, so he just brought it up.
I'm that confident.
He just brought it up.
I'm that confident.
So is that
Tyson
3
Bagent.
shots back to back to back?
Yes.
Or is that 3 shots?
Back to back to back, 3
Wow.
shots. I will do 3 shots of Malort.
Wait, you'll do what?
Wow.
This is over towards the end of the season, so we have it on video proof. Andrew has it on my text. So that towards the end of the season, if Justin Fields comes back and they bench Bagent, and by the end of the season, if Tyson Bagent is not looking like he's the franchise quarterback for this season, I will take 3 shots of Malort.
Back to back to back.
Back to back to back.
To the brim.
Yes. A normal shot of Malort I will take, which is, I believe, 1.5 ounces. I will take.
All right.
That's terrible. But okay.
I'm that confident in Bagent. So.
For your well-being, I hope you're correct. Because I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy.
It's not that.
But thank you for sitting with us and enjoying this podcast with us. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment on any of your opinions that you think we're wrong or right or blah, blah, blah. But
Follow us on Instagram.
yeah, follow us on Instagram. Thank you.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you as well.